Welcome, everybody, to the Black and White History Podcast. We are your hosts, Christian.
It's about to get real black and white.
It's, yeah.
It's about to get real black. I'm about to get real ethnic in this piece. No, I'm not really. I mean, as ethnic as I can be. I don't know. I'm not like the whitest black person there is, but like, you can see it from where we are. I'm Jordan.
Yeah, this is Jordan. Well, we, for those who don't know, I mean, we're northern citizens. So
we are proud citizens of the North. We had this discussion, though. Like, we're West Coast people. Like, we're a different breed altogether. Like, yeah, we're North, but we are way more West. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, Washington, which is where we live, was never even, like, became a state well after all this even happened.
like,
So
we that was bad over there.
Our state doesn't have as much guilt to revel in. So.
No, we're kind of out of that whole deal.
Yeah.
I mean, the Oregon Territory was going to be a free state, so
right, yeah.
You know, there's that, but we're not traipsing across the country to fight a whole war. I'm sure some people did. Probably not, actually. Not if they were smart. West Coast people are different, but we've never been accused of being smart.
It's fair.
I just, you know, it is what it is. So, we're doing like...
Yeah, on that note.
So we're doing like... is this like a super episode with two parts, or is it two separate episodes?
I think we'll see.
We'll see.
We're at the point, I've said this a couple times, where I keep calling it the downfall of America before the one now.
Yeah.
Basically just the road to the Civil War is like in high gear at this point.
Yeah.
So we have a string... I mean, these guys that we're going to get into, either probably one episode, or probably... We'll just say probably two episodes.
We'll see too.
That is like, whenever you look at those like presidential ranking things, everyone throws fits about like who should be number 1 or 2 or 5 or what, he's 6 but he's 8. Everyone agrees that the bottom 4 people is basically the next 4 people we're talking about.
Like first ballot Hall of Shame.
Yeah,
it's not good. And
aside from kind of Zachary Taylor, because
but then he died of the poop water.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that, but like
spoiler.
So we don't really know exactly how it would have gone with him. I guess we'll kind of start with him.
There's a lot of speculation about good old Zachary Taylor. I mean, he was so after Polk, all his maneuvering and moving Zachary Taylor from like the center push to go to Mexico City and like be the hero of the war, he moved him all the way out to the west coast of California, and he just kept on winning. He kept on winning. He never got tired of it. He won. He was a great general there. He wasn't like the most famous one, but he was one. He was a household name, basically.
Kind of like the Andrew Jackson, like he really got his fame from that war, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
you know, it's weird. Side note, rabbit trail. It's weird that we have like a lot of war hero presidents, like in the first 100 years or so, like being in the Revolutionary War or then being in the Mexican-American War. Like that was like a sticking point to like he's a war hero, so he should be president. And then it kind of fell off in the like late 19th, early 20th century until we get to like Eisenhower and stuff like that, where they are like, oh, he was the guy. Although we
kind of recaptured the magic after World War II.
Yeah.
For a bit.
Yeah.
And then we went back to just ivory tower high-ranking
we just want people to be politicians.
Yeah.
It's actually not very kosher to kill a bunch of people and be famous for it. Well, that's what they said. Although, for all of human history, like you think like the war chiefs and like the chieftains, like the dude who, even King David, you know, that guy, he has 100,000 foreskins. He should be our king. So, I mean, I don't know. Anyways. But yeah, so Zachary Taylor, despite Polk's like machinations to try to keep him out of the limelight, eventually became president immediately after.
He was like, Polk obviously was Democrat. And him and Taylor like got along, obviously, because Polk, that was kind of like his right-hand man for Mexican war and stuff. But obviously they had a lot of, aside from just like war battle plan stuff, they were pretty different people, and just in terms of their values of like just, well, for one, I guess like Zachary Taylor's a Whig, so he's part of the Whig Party. Polk was a Democrat, so it's like already there's obviously the big contention is the slavery.
It's the whole slavery thing. It keeps coming up.
Yeah.
And obviously like their personalities were very different too. Like Polk was he was a schemer and like planner, and he was a puppet master kind of leader. And then Zachary Taylor was like an actual military general. He was a military man, and like that kind of carried on into his presidency of just like, we're doing this. I don't care. We're doing this stuff. And You know, you were mentioning kind of before we started how like some people speculate like, oh, if Taylor hadn't died a year into his presidency, he could have avoided the Civil War, or we might have had the Civil War earlier, and it wouldn't have had like the massive, loss of life. He, basically cut it off at the knees. I don't personally buy it, but I can see the argument for it because he was kind of that guy. So a few of the southern states threatened to secede, and he said, "If you secede, you're traitors, and I'm going to come hang you."
Right.
And they're like, "Are you going to?" And he's like, "Well, no, but I'm thinking about it. I would do it." But he had that principle of like, we're one nation. You can't split off from the nation. If you do, then you're betraying the Constitution. So the penalty for treason is death, or like 10 years imprisonment and a fine. Which $250,000 is not a little bit of money. It was a lot more money back then. But like, if I had to, I could probably like do a GoFundMe for $250,000. So it's not like an impossible amount of money now. Back then, it was basically impossible. So, yeah, do I think he could have avoided a civil war? I don't think you could have avoided a civil war over this central of an issue. Do I think he could have started the civil war? Like, if he had really followed through with, like, if you secede, we're going to come down and make you not secede, that would have sparked a civil war for sure. But the implications would have been smaller. I think people would have been less riled up from the stuff that happened after his presidency, kind of starting in his presidency and then working up after it. So I don't know. I'm of two minds. I can see why people would think it. I don't think you can just like, there had to be a Lincoln type person. Yeah. Also, Zachary Taylor had slaves, so it's kind of hard to, you can make a stand. Jefferson and all those people, they made ideological stands and did not think slavery was good. But it is kind of like hard when you're starting out from a place of hypocrisy, of like, slavery is bad. Well, you have slaves. Yeah, but that's different. I only have a few slaves. So like, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, well, I think part of it too is, yeah, okay. I was curious if he had slaves during his presidency.
Oh, you didn't believe me?
No, so I knew he did beforehand, but I was just curious if you kind of like got rid of that when he was president. So like, see, look, I'm one of the good ones.
Look, I got rid of all my slaves, guys.
Nah, everyone knows.
Nah, it's fine. Nah, slaves are great, honestly. But we shouldn't have more.
You're right. So, well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's, I think part of why it's easy to take someone who like died before a big thing and be like, oh, he totally would have said this if you had that. You kind of start like speaking for them.
Yeah.
And start, we have hindsight of we can look back at the last 150 years and be like, oh, clearly he would have it's like, we don't know. And plus, I think one of the reasons why it's easier to do that with him is because when he was running, he kind of ran, like running for president, he ran on just the fact that he was a war hero. So he didn't really have a lot of very concrete, like, this is what we're going to do. Here's my 4-point plan. Yeah, I'm going to it was kind of just like, we need a leader. And I just helped take like the next half of our country.
Yeah.
So who do you want, me or someone who, so
me or Polk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please not him again.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was just bound. The Civil War was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, him dying, and we'll get into Fillmore once we get there. But things really heated up even more. So to basically a point of no return.
Yeah.
But I think it's just easier to just like what we said with a certain influencer. Now that he's dead, let me tell you what he really thought.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very convenient that this dead person would have been the massive hero that you would have imagined him to be, with no evidence.
Yeah.
Or scant evidence. It's just, it's all speculation. And it's an interesting thought exercise. I don't begrudge anyone for thinking like, what would have happened? Like, didn't Marvel do a whole series of like, well, what if this happened? Like, that's cool, but it didn't. So like, just keep it contained to like, that would have been cool, but we will never know how likely or unlikely that was.
Yeah. I think part of his appeal also though is because even though he was running as a Whig, so this is like kind of some of the groundwork for the Republicans, just the abolitionists, but he was still a Southerner. So he had like the Southern roots, but had like Northern like sensibilities, I guess. Yeah. So you can kind of see why that would be pretty appealing. Because you're going to start seeing, especially with the next few guys, of like, oh, he's a Northerner, but he's like a Democrat Northerner. And so it's like, which that doesn't really mean anything to us now. But like, obviously back then, that was kind of a big deal of like the whole playing both sides kind of thing.
Yeah.
And especially because, you have, you know, the Democrats are obviously more pro-slavery, but they're not really doing a lot to like expand it. It's kind of just like
They're
let's
playing
just
defense.
yeah, they're kind of more playing defense with it. Obviously, like with Polk and everything, him coming up with the okay, we'll have Texas be the slave state, but we'll make sure Oregon country isn't and all that kind of stuff. So, so yeah, I mean, who knows? Basically, so he runs against a couple people, and I'm glad I came across this because I didn't put it in my notes, but not only a Democrat, obviously, but that dang old Martin Van Buren.
He's back again.
Will not go away.
Remember me? Yes, not fondly,
Yeah,
Martin.
we don't want to remember you.
Please.
You don't want us to remember you.
And you know what? If you run again, you'll lose.
Yeah.
And he did.
So yeah, he really the only actual competition Zachary Taylor had was Lewis Cass. I'll show the map here of what the electoral map looks like. So everything's still pretty like scattered. We're not quite at like the Mason-Dixon line where all the states below are voting one way basically. And I think that's kind of like him being like a Southerner with Northern sensibilities kind of helps get a good enough scatter shot with some of these states up here, especially like, I mean, New York is, I guess that would be like the biggest state at this point. So
New York, Pennsylvania, all those types of things. Yeah, it's we think of it very like in our modern politics. It was probably the same back then, but where like in the primary, you kind of start really extreme with your party, and then you kind of walk it back as you get closer to like eat up the undecided middle of the ground voters, because most people aren't hardcore on either side. They might lean one way or another, but like either extreme, normal people are not extreme. And so, but to even get the nomination, you have to kind of be like the embodiment of that party's policies. But like back in the day, like you were just like that person. Like, I believe this and I'm not changing my mind. And like people respected that. And we see it kind of with Polk and like some of the more recent, like mid-late 1860s or 1800s, where you kind of have like the not middle of the road people, but people who are willing to
compromise.
Kind of have.
We'll get to a compromise shortly. But.
Yeah, but sometimes they compromise too hard. But like a middle of the road, kind of a blend of things. Like, I'm really for this, but I can see this, and we can do some of this, and making some concessions. And I think that's just sort of how the country is maturing too. You're adding more states, you're adding more people. People are kind of being able to move to different areas, and not like the differences between people are starting to kind of manifest themselves more openly, because they're not all jammed into 100 miles where everyone kind of has to just deal with the same problems. Like someone from the frontier of Texas, or someone going across the country to California for the gold rush, has very different priorities than a banker in Philadelphia or New York. They always kind of did, like rural and urban, but the distance and proximity changing between them gave them both more room to sort of like, I don't know, it's like if you plant two plants together, they kind of are like, they can't really coexist in the same place, so they either like one dies and the other grows, or they kind of both grow together. But if you separate them out, they can grow however they want to grow, and they're kind of their own plants, but because they have that distance, they're able to do that. So we're seeing, as the country gets bigger and there's more room, like you see it today, like West Coast people and East Coast people and Southwest people and Southeast people and Midwest people and far North people, like they all have different priorities and different things. But like within states, because we're closer, we're dealing with the same type of issues, the same type of industries, the same problems and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a proximity thing too.
Yeah, and I don't know if we've really mentioned this, maybe we have a little bit, but I've seen a lot of things about with, obviously, like, well, just abolish slavery. Like, why can't you just, and like not understand the economic crash that was still going to happen even after it was abolished.
Yeah.
And so the idea of doing that so early when our country was so young and so fragile.
There probably wouldn't be a country.
Right. Yeah. So
it'd be multiple countries.
It's like the idea of like, who can we get into office that could like appropriately navigate that, like trying to do the right thing, but also like representing our country in a way that doesn't cause it to collapse on itself.
Yeah, that's a trick, and that's one of the reasons why I don't know if Zachary Taylor could have done the Civil War in the way that Lincoln did the Civil War, because like saying you're traitors and we're gonna hang all you, like even though they're wrong, slavery is bad, but like it was legal and it was like they had a principled argument for a bad thing, but it was a principled argument. And it's one thing to say you're an enemy and we're going to destroy you and your way of life and we're going to be one country, but your everything that made you unique and everything you believed in is going to be gone. Like, well, we're not really one country anymore then. Like,
Yeah.
we're two countries and we fought a war and you beat us. And so now we're one country again. So I feel like, again, this is speculation because I don't know. I feel like Taylor would have had like the scorched earth type thing that Grant and Lincoln expressly did not want. Like, fast forward, after the war, they're like, send them home. We're not going to hang their leaders. We're not going to do any of this. Everyone's going to go home and we're going to be one country again. Like, we're done. It's over. And I don't think Taylor would have done that. That causes like, no, we're going to root them all out because you're the enemy and we're going to kill all of you. And that just creates insurgencies and it creates a separate country within the same country. It would not have worked. But again, that's just speculation.
Yeah, it's weird because Zachary Taylor, not only was he like one of those, it's kind of like, oh, the non-politician becoming a politician thing is usually when we see that, it's someone who still has very strong, like, what their values are, or who they vote for and everything. With Zachary Taylor, he never even voted beforehand. He was just literally like clean slate. So it's like, all right, what do you got? Yeah. Like, we don't know actually.
He comes to the table with no plans,
right? So
with no background. He's kind of a wild card. And sometimes you need that to like break up the system. If it's so bad, we got to break up the system. I don't care. Anything's better than this.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand people feeling that, but for the most part, that's not like, the country is good except for this one big issue. So like, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's solve this issue, but we don't need to destroy half the country and then also ourselves because they're producing things. We need to figure out a way where this continues to work for another 100 years. And if you don't go into a conflict with that in mind, then, I mean, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, yeah, and it's not like, I don't know, you look at like Shays Rebellion. Like, we're at a point where that was such a small thing compared to this. Now it's like for the president to step in, obviously, like, that was George Washington.
Way back. We're going way back for that one.
That
was the first kind of time where like challenging federal authority.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to have the mindset of, no, we're one country. You're going to follow the law, except when the law is bad. So we're going to violate the law on moral grounds. Like, that's where it gets weird because it's not, and we'll see in these next 3 presidents, like, you're talking about a moral issue, but we're arguing a legal issue.
Yeah.
So like, you're breaking the law. It's wrong to break the law. So you're the bad guy. It's like, no, you're doing a bad thing regardless of what the law says. So you're a bad guy. Well, we got to have a fight about it. Governing is hard. We probably shouldn't do it anymore. So Zachary Taylor dies.
So yeah, about like a year and a half in,
He drank the poop water.
Yeah, there's like this whole thing too of like, I don't really buy it, but like, oh, he was there was a coup and that someone came in and poisoned his like I don't know. He died basically the same way. Everyone was dying around that time.
Yeah, he died of foggy bottom like everyone else before.
The White House is a swamp.
Yeah. Literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he eats some like really bad cherries and milk, and then that does it. So he's the second president now to die in office.
Oh, cherries and milk. What an old timey, like, that doesn't even sound like a milkshake. Is it like a milkshake type thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was like blended together or something, or
Did you just eat a lot of cherries and drink a lot of milk? That's weird.
I guess that goes to show like how bad it was there, if that's all it took.
I had a tummy ache and died.
Yeah.
Oh,
a bowl of cherries was enough to.
Oh, you got it. Well, if you wash them in poop water, I guess.
I don't know.
Do they wash things?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if he had any other pre-existing problems before.
Yeah, pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, his pre-existing condition was living in the 19th century.
Yeah.
that was it. So he's dead.
So we haven't talked about his vice president yet until now. Alec Baldwin.
Oh.
So
yeah, from a long line of Baldwins.
Yep.
No, it's Millard Fillmore.
Millard Fillmore.
The silliest name. It's even sillier than Polk. Millard Fillmore.
Yeah.
If there's any people named Millard, you need to change your name, like legally, tomorrow. It's not okay to have that name. What nicknames could, like, when you name your kids, you think, like, how are they going to be made fun of? Millard.
Millard.
It sounds like a little. Well, you said we were gonna have homework. Shut up, Millard.
Yeah.
Anyways, he was a Whig.
So he was also a Whig.
Yes.
This wasn't the whole like the president picks the opposite party thing.
Yeah. No more goodwill.
Yeah,
Team Whig.
So Millard Fillmore was more of like the actual politician,
Yeah.
kind of, the more how you would think of someone who would be president like around this time.
Yeah.
But I guess ironically enough, does a lot worse
Yeah.
than Zachary Taylor did.
Yeah. So the biggest thing for Millard Fillmore was pretty much immediately, and then Henry Clay.
Yeah, we'll get into Henry Clay.
Henry fucking Clay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Henry Clay rears his Dick Cheney.
Yep, I was gonna say that.
Rears his head again with the Compromise of 1850. Yeah.
And this is a slavery thing. So
It's
like,
of course it's a slavery thing.
Yeah.
Everything from 1850 to 1860 is a slavery thing. Everything is. It's the issue. And
well, go ahead and tell us.
yeah, well, okay, so
And Henry Clay's a Whig.
he
So just for more perspective,
he is a Whig.
Yeah,
But he is just
he's a
Jackson should have killed him.
yeah. What's like when we say like rhinos for like
Yeah.
for Republicans that are Republican name only? What would be winos?
Yeah,
Whigs
he's
in
a-
name.
yes.
Winos.
Yeah, but a WHINO.
Yeah.
Wino. Yeah. So the Compromise of 1850.
He's the first neocon.
Yeah. It's like warmonger, but for slaves.
Yeah.
So it was designed to like ease the tensions about slavery, and basically like politics is all about blame. Who gets blamed for this? Whose fault is this? And you try to spin everything and make yourself look good and make the other party look bad. That's just politics. That's just life. And so the Compromise of 1850 was really it was going to try to cool the tensions, sort of like Polk saying, yeah, we'll annex Texas, but we'll give the Oregon Territory, that's going to be a free state. So kind of balance it out. So everyone's equally pissed off. So no one's like, you screwed us and you're the bad guy. It's like, no, I screwed everyone. So whatever. So California is admitted as a free state. There's no slave trading in the District of Columbia where the capital is.
Right.
So that's cool. Hooray. Okay. He introduced something called, well, he didn't introduce it. It was like in 1848, 1849.
Well, this is also the same time now Utah and New Mexico are now territories, and so it's the same time that California becomes a free state.
Yes.
So we got like a lot.
There's a lot of states being added.
You're right. So it's just happening very quickly.
And popular sovereignty. So basically, and it's one of those legal constitutional things that is good on paper but has unintended consequences. So the Constitution basically says like the federal government has supremacy. So if there's a federal law, states can't have laws that contradict federal law. But anything that the feds don't make a law about is left up to the states, and each state can decide like speed limits or whatever. Like they can decide the laws for their own states, but it's all under the umbrella of the federal law. So you can't go against the Constitution or anything like that. So popular sovereignty basically said, okay, instead of doing the Missouri Compromise, where we go one free state, next state is a slave state, next state is a free state, we're going to let each new state vote within themselves to be a free state or a slave state. Again, that sounds good on paper because it goes to
It looks like democracy.
Well, yeah, it goes to what the Constitution said. It's like if because states can make laws that are more restrictive than federal laws, but not less restrictive than federal laws. So slavery is legal federally, but certain states are designated as free states or slave states, but that comes from just like the federal government has said, this is the plan that we're doing. Now it's, okay, each state gets to decide for themselves, which makes sense and is in accordance with like the spirit of the Constitution and limited government and stuff like that. What that does is, remember, the good thing, and in this case the bad thing about the U.S. is that if you wanted to move to Oregon tomorrow, you can. You can just pick up your stuff, move to Oregon, or move to Missouri, or move to Kansas tomorrow if you want to. No one's stopping you. You're allowed to travel. You can become a resident of that state, vote in that state. You can do that. That's fine. So that's good, but also bad, because if you are a slave owner in Virginia, and now all I have to do is round up as many of my friends as possible who like slaves, and we can just all go to this next state where it just became a state and we haven't decided if we're a slave state or a free state. We're going to vote on it. we're all going to go and we're all going to pour money and votes and people into that state to make it another slave state because we want that. And then on the other side, no, we think it should be free and we're going to do the exact same thing. So the people who actually settle in these new states are like mixed, or they have their own beliefs. But now everyone else is coming in to try to increase the amount of slave states or free states.
It's like very aggressive lobbying.
It's extremely aggressive lobbying. I mean, this
and
is
violent.
This is,
which we will, maybe not this episode, but
it's grassroots to its core.
Yeah.
You should be allowed to advocate for the things that you believe are good. That's, First Amendment. You're allowed to petition the government. You're allowed to influence people and talk to people and try to convince them. But again, it kind of is like, well, the whole point of this is for the people who live in those states to decide, not for me to come from across the country and say, I think this way, so you should think this way. But also you can go 50-50 on that, because if I think it's a really good idea and I think you're just missing critical information, I feel like I should give that to you so you can make the best choice, which also happens to align with my choice, because I'm super smart and you're a dumb bumblescum Kansan, so you don't know, and I'm going to tell you that slavery is good. And it's just a mess, and it does lead to like horrible citizen violence, because this is the issue. It's the most contentious issue. There's principled arguments on both sides. Only one has the moral high ground, but the other has the legal high ground. So it's just very, very intense. Adding to this is the passage of the Fugitive Slave Act. So the Fugitive Slave Act, basically, like Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad. So like if you're in a slave state and you didn't want to live, if you were a slave in a slave state and you didn't want to be a slave anymore, the goal was, I have to escape from the plantation, run however long, avoid all capture and stuff to get to a free state. And that's what the Underground Railroad was people would help you. You'd go to these places and they, set you up so you go to the next place, and the next place is a safe and established, quote unquote safe, way to get from a slave state into a free state. Because once you're in a free state, you're protected by that state's laws. They're a free state, so you're no longer a slave. So you can just be a regular citizen in that state. The Fugitive Slave Act was passed, and it said anyone in the country, free state or slave state, if there is an escaped slave in your state, you have to send them back to their original state, and agents can come into your state to basically find escaped slaves and bring them back. And often there were bounties for these escaped slaves, which created $10 doctor word, perverse incentive. So it's like what's an example of that? So okay, there's too many rabbits in Thurston County, so we are going to give you $10 per rabbit that you hunt, and bring us the pelts, and we'll give you $10. Cool. So what you do is you start breeding rabbits, and then you kill all those rabbits and just cash in, because whatever. And the idea of the program was to limit the amount of rabbits because they're eating crops and stuff. You took advantage of that and bred more rabbits just to kill them and collect the money. It created a perverse incentive in this way. For the Fugitive Slave Act created the perverse incentive, because now if there's a bounty for escaped slaves, and escaped slaves aren't going to have documentation on them saying that I'm a slave and I have escaped, and also free black people in the North, in free states, are not going to have documentation saying that I'm free and I'm from here. They're not going to have that. So you can just go basically anywhere, grab a black person, bring them back to a slave state, get your bounty, and be done with it. And so
it made it so that Northerners had
forced
them to participate in it.
You have to.
And so that was a huge part of it too. It wasn't just kind of like, there's one, I mean, not saying this is good, but it was just kind of like, whatever, not my problem. They want to come up here and do that, I'm just going to live my life. It's like, no, like now you're also accountable for it.
Yeah, you can't harbor escaped slaves. You can't do anything like that. And that is, like people in the North could basically put their heads in the sand and say, oh, that's terrible about what's happening down South. But I don't mind black people. They don't have to be slaves here, which there are plenty of people in the North who did not like black people. Sure. So it's not like, it was not like a panacea. It wasn't great, but at least you weren't a slave. So it was a big step up, but it wasn't always great. But you could bury your head in the sand and say, well, it's sad that slavery is happening down there, but we're a free state, so we don't do that. We don't carry like the moral burden and guilt of contributing to slavery.
It's kind of like the live and let live
kind
of thing with it. But now it's like they can't even have that.
No.
Because now they're actually being legally forced into participating.
Yes. And so that upsets a lot of people, and I would say rightfully so. Like if you move to a state, like if Washington has a law that we don't like, we can move to Idaho and live under laws that we like better. But now there's a federal law that says, nope, no matter what, this law that you didn't like in this place that you left, there's nowhere you can go where you can escape that law. It's like, well, that's really going to upset me. Like, the whole point of this is self-governance, but you are making this very contentious moral issue that people have very different views on. You are setting a policy that says we have to participate in this thing that we think is morally wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, that is not, that's like war, that's fighting words right there, as we can see. So it didn't help at all. It turned a lot of people who did not care about the slavery issue because it didn't affect them. Now they're like, well, no, we're not doing this at all. Like, abolition is like, there's going to be no slaves. Like, I'm not contributing to this. I don't think it's good. I live in a place where it wasn't legal. You have now brought a whole bunch of bounty hunters and all this stuff. Like, no, we're not doing it anymore. It was bad. It was an attempt at compromise with the South and the North, and it blew up. And Millard Fillmore was the last Whig president.
Yeah, so obviously he signed off on this whole thing, and
good idea. Thanks, Henry Clay. There's no way. Everything Henry Clay has touched has been poison.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because obviously, black people aren't citizens yet, so that's like
they're not even really technically people.
Exactly. So I was going to say the Fifth Amendment isn't covering for black people because they're not considered people, and so there's nothing you can do if you were mistakenly captured and brought back to the South. There's no trial. There's no due process for it because you're not. Yeah, because you're not a citizen. So it's like all those. It doesn't even matter. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that movie 12 Years a Slave is like the Fugitive Slave Act. Like, he was a free black person, so he got caught up in by these bounty hunters and got brought back and was a slave for. It was based on a true story, actually.
Okay, I've never seen that.
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah,
it's a very good movie. There's a lot of good people in it. Benedict Cumberbatch is in it.
Oh, I'd hate it then. I'm just kidding.
Well, you like 1917?
Yeah, I was joking.
Oh. Well, don't do that anymore. Don't scare me like that. He's not the best actor, but whatever. He's British, so people think he's more sophisticated than
yeah, that's true. Okay, so then, basically, Millard. I just hate calling him
Millard.
He serves the next 2.5 years, basically, of his term, and then he just gets primaried. Meaning he doesn't, the Whig Party convention just doesn't even let him run for a second term. No. So they oust him. And then he ends up trying to run as a third party.
And that didn't work.
And obviously didn't work. And it was like, which I don't know what he was expecting. But
look, guys, I compromised. Right. Isn't this what you liked? Yeah. No, actually, we don't.
So, yeah, I guess that's kind of the basic gist
of it. Those two guys, honestly.
1852 rolls around, and they end up, Whig Party ends up getting Winfield Scott, who was like another general.
Yeah, he was the one who
got
the
Mexican War. Yeah, so. And then Franklin Pierce. And I think we could probably end it.
Yeah, we'll do the other two failures.
Yeah. So, if you made it this far,
I'm sorry. We had to talk about them. We didn't have to. We could have skipped them.
Well, it's like, what else are you gonna talk about in this era other than slavery? That's like the only thing at this point. There's no that's slavery stuff. But how is the trading embargoes going in Britain? No one cares
not great, actually.
Or
it turns out.
Even is aware because it doesn't even really matter. It's all domestic.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, we'll go ahead and end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.